Surprise, motherfucker.
So they announced the undercard for Tyson Fury, getting a lot of shit online. It's not the best undercard, gotta be honest. Don't know whether they're going to add any more, maybe they are, maybe I don't know, maybe some fights will change or whatever. But I heard an interview from Frank Warren and he reckons that they've only got 3.5 hours to get all the fights done and dusted. So he says, I presume he's not lying, for the stipulations for having that many people in that place at Wembley. So if that's true, there's only so many fights you can have. But that being said, you know, just because you're limited the amount of fights that they've got, how many they got on? They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights. You could do 8 fights in 3.5 hours pretty comfortably, especially with the lower rounder ones earlier on in the card. But it's not the best. But what did anybody expect? Did anybody expect it to be the best on the card? It's a top ranked promotion pretty much. I know Frank Warren's fronting it, but Top Rank have got as much say in it as anybody. If you look at all their shows, look at most of the American shows, it's all about the number one fight. It's all about top of the bill, and maybe there'll sometimes be a decent chief support or whatever. The undercards usually in the American fights are just crap, basically. It's better than the American fights. Not the best, world's best undercard. I mean, you've got Tommy Fury on there, massive name, fighting on paper the best opponent of his career. Don't know, never heard of this guy who he's fighting. He's Polish, 6'3", so he's, you know, you look at his record, and yeah, most of the people he's fought have been had losing records. But what can you say? I mean, you can't win. I mean, he's only, what is he, 22 or 23, something like that. He's not going to be fighting world beaters at this point, has he? And plus, he's been out for ages, so you know, he's just coming back. I don't really understand what people were expecting. I mean, who is it that they think is in Frank Warren's stable that was, what massive names does he have that he thinks that the people think are going to be appearing on the undercard? Who have they got? They've got Anthony Yard. He's not a massive name worldwide, but he's you know, in Britain he's a pretty big name. Tried to get him on the undercard. Apparently the numbers didn't work. I mean DILIAN Whyte's not helping this situation, is he, by refusing to promote this fight at all? So yeah, maybe they're a bit wary of the numbers they're going to do and trying to keep a handle on the purse strings as much as possible as to not lose any more money than they need to. Because obviously they've won the purse bid for the fight and it's 40 odd million, so they're going to have to at least recoup that, and you know, the aim will be to make some profit as well, obviously. You've got David Adelaide, unbeaten prospect, got beat by Sozanowski really, but Sokolowski, sorry, but he's on against Chris Healy, again, not the best. Anthony Kikes, good fighter against a guy called Jonathan Romero. I'm not entirely sure. Again, he looks like he's on a good record, 34-1. Colombia, looks like a mean bastard. Look at this fella here.
Surprise,
yeah.
motherfucker.
He'd only been beat once, and that was 9 years ago. So you know, he looks decent. He looks decent enough on paper, and yeah, he's fought a few donuts on there by the look of it. But some of them have decent, you know, 26, 7 and 4. It's not a bad record. One of them there's a few of them we have decent records. I don't know. Looks like a decent name. Decent record. Debut for Kurt Walker. Bonnie Price, obviously unbeaten prospect on there as well. Carol Ituma, I'm not sure. Is he the fella who's in the camp with Fury? No, he's not. I don't know who he is. Unbeaten prospect though, by the look of him. And Isaac Law. I know about Isaac Law. He's Tyson Fury's mate, but he's obviously getting a good leg up from Fury, which is, you know, he's a good fighter. Maybe doesn't necessarily warrant being the chief support on this card, but yeah, fighting Nick Ball for some sort of low-level world title. Nick Ball's an unbeaten guy, so you know, again, it's always nice to beat unbeaten guys. Scouser, he's only 5'2", he's only a little fella. Not knockovers, but a good few journeymen on there on his record, but he also has a couple of unbeaten people on his record there. He's got a fella called Brian Phillips. A fella called Jerome Campbell, that was only a couple of fights ago that he beat him, and he was 6-0, so you know, and he beat him 79-72, so I make him pretty emphatically by the look of that. So yeah, that could be a good fight. I have heard of him, I've never actually seen the fella fight though, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what people were expecting here really. It's, like I say, when people are saying how much they've overpaid for the fight, when are you ever going to be spending loads of money on the undercard? Especially when they're potentially not having the money that they're going to make from the fight optimised by the fact that Dillian Whyte's refusing to do any promotion. He won't even tweet anything out on his Twitter, you know, and promoting the fight. So you know, it'd be sensible to keep your costs down, and maybe they will add some more. I don't know. Or maybe they will change. Maybe some people will pull out and end up with something different. I know they were trying to get the American fella who Fury's been sparring with Anderson, but again, would he have been a big draw? American guy, never fought. He's not particularly well known in America. He's not known over here at all. Even if he was on there, I know about him fighting Christian Hammer, who's on the way out anyway, but even if that fight was to be on, would still people still be mourning, you know. Like Frank says, they're restricted in terms of time, obviously restricted in terms of money, in terms of the amount of money they had to bid for the fight, and the fact that Dillian Whyte's not doing any, you know, he's just not doing anything to make the most of the opportunity to make as much money for the production as possible. So it's sensible to keep your handle on the purse strings, and again, who've they got? Who have, other than Tyson Fury and maybe Anthony Yard? Who else is there who's available in terms of on BC who's not on this? There ain't anybody. I mean, there's Daniel Dubois, but he's already locked into fighting Trevor Bryan. There ain't really anyone else. I mean, there's Joe Joyce coming back from injury. They're on about him fighting Parker. But again, he'd be too big of a name to afford to get on this card anyway. But I don't know what people are expecting. It's not a great undercard, but they are restricted by time and by money. So I don't really, and by who they have available to them as well. So I don't really know what people are expecting. But I'm looking forward to a couple of them. Obviously, everyone's tuning in for the main event.
Surprise, motherfucker.